All right, so obviously I'm a head strength and conditioning coach at a high school, and it's really a school system. It's not just a high school. So I'm in charge of the physical development for my ages 3 to 18. I physically have hands-on with my athletes from age 14 to 18 on a daily basis. And see the overview development of the others through some assistant coaches that I have. I have 2 grad assistants and 4 interns that I work with on a given semester. They rotate in for an 18-week block. It's an application process. They don't get paid. I don't know why they find that. It's very humbling that I would have that many applicants, but they do. We work them. They don't mop floors and make shakes. That's not what we do with our interns. Our interns, it's a very educational experience, and GA Shift is a very hands-on educational experience that we try to provide for them. So it does allot me the ability to see the amount of athletes that I see. I see 409 athletes personally a day, so I have to have a system to manage that, right? When you have that volume, you have to have a system to manage that. So I hope to share with you a little bit about what we do. I have a very unique background. I was an athletic trainer for a long period of my life, a medical trainer, a physiotherapist. Many of you will call it that. I worked with the Atlanta Hawks, a professional basketball team, as an assistant athletic trainer and assistant strength coach. I've worked with collegiate athletes. I owned a 53,000 square foot training center that we did professional athletes and amateur athletes alike, trained in it with that. And so about 17 years ago, though, tied up with the school system that I'm at now, and have been there since. And it's the best decision I've ever made. I really enjoy working with the youth athletes. I think our culture has it maybe flip-flop, where we think pro strength and conditioning, boy, that's the top of the top, and that's where I want to attain. I actually think the people that work at the lowest level, the elementary school level, the introductory level, those are where the top coaches are, period, bar none. I strive to be more like them. So I think the system may be a little upside down due to financial and things like that, but I'm adamant that if we get it the right side up, we would see better development. So hopefully share with you a little bit about what we do. If I asked you the question, are we better today in strength and conditioning than we were 50 years ago, what would be your answer? I hope it would be an astounding yes. Would you agree with me? 50 years ago, yes. You just said the college, right? In a very short period of time has added a bunch of stuff. Doesn't mean it was garbage, but we've advanced, right? You would think that's the case, and I'm going to show you maybe we need to think about that a little bit. This is a video 50 years ago. Not working sound. All right, so this is 50 years ago. This is a video of the United States. John F. Kennedy, our president, kind of made a mandate in 1962 that our physical education classes, do your students look like this? My students don't look like this. In 50 years, my students have gone from looking like that, look at that body, and look what they're doing. I mean, seriously, just look at these motions for a minute. Look at the movements. It's not very complex. It's not technology-based. We talked about that this morning. It's not a very difficult concept. What in the world? If I brought this out, I don't know if I have a single athlete at the back. I don't have any of that. I wish I did. I wish I had one of these. I mean, look at the push-ups. No, that's not happening. So 50 years ago, this is literally just, that clip is from one high school that bought into this system. It became a big thing where they had over 30 high schools buy into this, and it became a very systematic structure. Now, our culture back then in the United States was very discipline-based. As you can see, they didn't have to say a whole lot. They have them on cadence and doing things that are absolutely unbelievable. So we have gone from that to this. We have a sitting disease. I think I mentioned that in the Q&A. We now have a disease called the sitting disease. The fact that it's called the sitting disease blows my mind. How in the world? If you sit more than 4 hours a day, it's going to result in doubling or a 50% increase in your risk of death from any cause. Huh? And so our academic answer is, hey, let's get them up out of bed, sit down and eat breakfast, sit down on the bus or the car to school, sit down in class all day, sit down on the bus to go home, and sit down and play PlayStation when they get home. And then lay down and go to bed. And that's the environment we've gone in 50 years. So basically we have this massively cracked foundation in our training. And what we have, I have an under 17 national soccer player that is in our team, in our school. And she can do things with the ball that I can't even fathom. I have no idea how the ball gets one place to the next. It's just short-sighted things. It just blows my mind a bit of how she can move it. She has unbelievably great specific skills. But we were doing just a little prep. It was her first day with me, and we were doing some prep stuff, and we were just going to do a backward skip. Nothing fancy, nothing dynamic as a warm-up or anything like that. Just a simple, straightforward backward skip. Not the open hip skip, none of that. Just simple back skip. And this, I'm not lying. I should have had this on video, but this is what she looked like. National team player. That's what she looked like. And I thought, oh, come on. You have to be better than that. Can you go sideways? Couldn't do it. Could you shuffle? Her shuffle looked like this. Put a ball in play, move really well. And I'm thinking, what? Because your specific skill level, I can get that as good as I possibly can. But that's only going to be built on the foundation of by these general skills. That's why we talk about these fundamental movements, fundamental skill development. If I can elevate that up, it's automatically going to elevate these specific skills. I'm limiting her. I'm putting a governor on her because she can't generally move. And so, but what does our culture do? They're going to go and they're going to train with their club, and then they're going to go get a trainer on the side, and then they're going to go get a skill group, and they're going to play 7 games on a 3-day weekend, and they're going to go play, but they're not going to spend any time on what really is going to build them up. And so that is a main emphasis of our program, and in our school system, I've tried to create a system that we can do this. Now, I am at a private school, and we have all of these on our campus. So I have a little advantage over some. We have an early childhood, we call it the village, and that's going to be your, basically it says 0 to 6, but it's 3 years old. I don't have people coming out of the moms and shooting into school. So yeah, it's 3 years to 6. And I looked at that last night. I was like, why did I put that? All right, elementary school, you can see the ages, junior high, and then senior high. I deal with the 8th grade, so 14, all the way through 18 on a daily basis. I have my hands on those. This is the age that I've been given. I know there are training windows of opportunity dependent upon the LTAD models that you like, but I don't dictate that. I don't be able to separate, hey, I'm going to get my 9-year-old girls here and my 10-year-old guys here. They come in a grade, and it's the grade that I've been given. So we've had to tweak those models. It was great listening yesterday's talks about how, Des, I think it was you that looked at all the long-term models and how you just take from them that best fits your culture that you're in. So understand, and I think it's been great, you've heard this woven like a tapestry throughout the conference, that it's not like any of us have the one best system. We have the one best system that fits our culture and our environment. So you need to search for what, throughout all these talks, and I'll do that. I was just watching Pouty down here do a little lunge movement, and I was joking out here, and I meant it. I wasn't really joking. That's fantastic. I'm going to take that. In 2 weeks, I'll forget where I learned it from. But I don't invent anything. There's nothing inventive about it. You said about velocity-based training today, I think, too. We're not inventing things. What we're doing is we're taking pieces and trying to create our unique environment from that. So this is the system that we've come up with. And we have these different phases, and I'm going to go through this relatively quick to give you an overview so I can get to the content that I want to give you. Hopefully that will make sense to you, but I think I need to do this in this order. Now, understand what I'm about ready to tell you is our strength program and power development program. I have what I'm about ready to show you in each one of the 5 facets. This is physical literacy, the 10 S's if you're not know: strength, stamina, speed, skill, suppleness, like mobility, flexibility, stability. This gives you physical literacy, whereas these things are also vitally important. We talked about it in the Q&A today, right here, about this psychology part, or mental toughness part, and that's when we're talking about that. And these are just as important. So each one of these 10, quote, S's, I have what I'm about ready to show you. Exactly like you were saying, I loved your talk so much because you have this program that's designed, right? You have a philosophy statement, a structure built in to know why you're doing what you're doing. It's not just because I found this really cool video on YouTube. Wow, that looks really good, I'm going to do that. You got to have a structure to put everything in there. So this is the structure we have with our strength development. I'm a huge believer in this. Fred Eves was the NCAA National High School Strength Coach of the Year last year in Tennessee. And he has this great quote. He says, youth strength development is a slow roast. We have too many coaches. And I understand why sport coaches need this, because they keep their jobs if they win. All right? That's it. So they may not want to do specific things, but they got to have their people as great as physically possible, as quick as physically possible. I believe it's in the right way to get them as great as physically possible for as long as physically possible. And those are competing entities. Because if I push a 10-year-old to get him as great as he can be as a 10-year-old, I may have harmed him now, and he's never going to be the 15-year-old or the 18-year-old he could have been. Because I'm making him do things that, yeah, they'll let me win, but maybe I'm damaging him to the point where when he's 15 or 18, but as a 10-year-old coach, I don't care, because in order to keep my job, I just need to win. I don't care what that kid does. That's an awful system. And what we did a couple years ago to help with our system, and it's not a state system, I wish it was, we were able, again, this is the allotment that advantage I have in the private school setting, I was able to convince our athletic director system that we take wins and losses off of a review of any coach, period. It's not discussed, period. I mean, literally. People hear that and they're like, no, seriously, it's not a review process. Physical development, academic development, spiritual development, social development, and we have markers and rubrics for each. That's what our coaching staffs are evaluated on. It has radically changed the system. It has created a buy-in now, because now it's not about winning at 15, it's about developing the athlete. So, and again, the whole goal in our system is to have them be as great as they're gonna be for as long as they're gonna be. And that is a huge, huge movement piece. So the slow roast concept, we're not trying to get them better faster, we're trying to get them better longer. So I'm going to kind of go through, this is the overview of each stage of our system. So here's our pre-K, so like I said, not age 0, they're not shooting out. So this is a couple pictures, but this is what we do. We've talked about it, you've heard this talked about, this idea of unorganized play. Fergal does a great talk. I was really impressed with his talk yesterday about unorganized play, about allowing your young children to explore the boundaries of how to move and roll on their own without us guiding them. And so, yeah, you need to create an area that has boundaries and safe environment. There's a company, Play, in the United States that's actually investigating, coming up with an idea of playscapes, of creating a playground that isn't just slides and ladder driven, but actually hills and rolls and little balance beams and sand and different textures, to actually incorporate that into their play and let them just go explore. I think that's just a phenomenally game-changing idea. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. And so the whole idea, we've talked about this, we want to have fun. Fun with a purpose. Fun without a purpose isn't developmental, but fun with a purpose. And so we really, really try to go with this idea at that age. Our next one is our Fundamentals 1 system. At this age, 7 to 9, we will go no organized strength training. We don't have powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting teams. Those aren't bad, we just don't have them. So my whole idea behind strength training is purely to develop the athlete, not to develop the lifter. Does that make sense too? And I'm not downgrading lifting. I think it's a fantastic exploration of athleticism. It's just not what we do. So it's not part of our program. So some people say, well, you're against Olympic weightlifting. No, I'm not against Olympic weightlifting. We just don't do it. It's okay. Relax, it's just different techniques. All right, so we'll do movement-based games. And on all my presentations, at the very end, you will see references. I have hyperlinked those references, and they're all up here. So when you see something, it'll be linked to it. So you'll be able to go to videos, you'll be able to go to articles, you'll be able to go to studies really quick. So hopefully that will help you as well. So movement-based games, we'll do some simple movement-based games. Can I have you hop up here really quick? This is going to be the easiest of the easy. You're just going to stand right here for me. So even with it, because we're 7 to 9 years old. So movement-based games, we're just trying to develop them to move with strength and movement, so you're just going to stand there. And you can see we're going to work on these fundamental skill developments, and athletic stance is one of the premium ones. So just going to have face me like athletically. Face me athletically. All right, so what I would do with this young athlete, relax, so they would be able to do it good. I would have a cone maybe 5 yards or so, and I know we have the American system of measurement. 5 yards over here, a cone. And this cone over here would be blue, and this cone over here would be red. So this cone is what? Red. And this cone over here is? All right, so I'm not messing with you. Go down in an athletic stance, and I'm going to call out a color. When I call out a color, you just step. Normally, I would have them sprint as fast as they could, right? So they may be in a line, because we like to do a little competition. So we may have two guys, and we'll see who's the fastest to get to that line, because competition breeds focus. We like that. So all right, so you ready? So we have 2 or 3 people. Blue. Oh, he's already like, oh, which one is it? So the first thing is you'll see some people have to look at the color. Some people got it and they're so zoned in, even at this age. Blue, I know blue's left, and they'll say red, and they'll freeze because they're thinking blue. They're only thinking one. And it lets me in a little bit. You can have a seat really quick. It lets me in a little bit on this, what's going on in here. And maybe as a coach, what I need to do, maybe what drills we need to do. Simple. I have tons of these. Simple things that we do. All our coaches do, but we actually engage that a lot in what we do. So now that gets more advanced as we go down the line. We fundamentals 2, you're going to see we go to advanced options. All right, so we can go to an advanced option. So who in here knows how to play rock, paper, scissors? I need hands because I'm going to pick 2 people if you don't. All right, Blue, you're up. Up here, you're up. Come on up here. Yeah, if you don't raise your hands, I'm an awful speaker because I'll come grab you, and being in the back doesn't save you because my wife's in the back, so if I can pick on anyone, she's back there to gauge it. All right, you guys are going to face each other. All right, so we have a cone behind them 5 yards back, and we have a cone behind you 5 yards back. Obviously, just like before, you're not going to run, but you're going to turn. All right, now the goal is you're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Now, just to make sure that we're on the same page, let's go ahead and play one game of rock, paper, scissors. Okay, keep going. This must be an Ireland thing because yesterday we had like 20 rounds before we could get a winner. All right, so we understand the whole paper-covered rock, and we understand the winner. All right, if you win, your goal would be to run. Of course, we're not going to run in here to your cone as fast as you can. Your goal, if you lose, would be to touch him before he gets to his cone as fast as he can. So in here, you're just going to turn. If you turn before he touches you, you win. All right, so go ahead and play, and off we go. Oh, what happened? So, all right, now here's the thing. We do this. You guys have a seat really quick. So both of them did what? What was their normal reaction? It was to do what? Run from. That is an innate thing. If I see a snake, I know. That is built into us. That's that fight or flight. That is innate. Now, people that are great defenders, they're crazy in the head. Because they are the ones that when they see a snake go to pick it up. They're the ones that go forward. You will have it occasionally when you do this, that their innate thing is to touch, even if they lost. And it tells you right off the bat, that guy might be better suited for defensive type thing. It's kind of a cool thing. Just kind of see. Doesn't mean a whole lot. Just something to evaluate, something to think about. But we need you to be able to read, react, and respond. We teach you that in a fun way. Kids love it. Adults love it. It is actually a pretty good thing when we do it on the outside. So we try to do that. And then we're going to introduce some of our basic strength movements. You say, man, you wait all the way till they're 10. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. And I found this to be incredibly successful in developing the athletes that we want. Like with bracing, what we're going to do at that age, they're going to be in that athletic stance, and we tell them, hey, this is how we're going to start with our bracing. We want you to squish your belly in. Now I want you to squeeze your belly to push your fingers out. Back in. Out. Back in. Out. Now hold it. And that's our bracing. We'll go through that series before we ever teach planks, before we ever teach side planks, before we ever teach pal-off presses or any of that kind of stuff. So we'll go through that. We'll go through some base stuff. We'll use PVC pipes. We're going to teach those 5 basic movements and move on from there. Now, when we get to this age, this is a Goge block. We are the Spartans, as you can see from my attire. So a Goge wasn't a great system that the Spartans did. They would train the youth. If they failed, they threw them off a cliff. Probably not what I'm going to do with mine, hopefully. But we stole that. The movie came out. It was kind of a big thing. So we stole that term for our real youth model. This is one of the first when we start really getting into some general training, as most people recognize. I steal a lot from Dan John, and I will tell you this right now, like I said before. Peter Friesen is a head athletic trainer and strength coach with a hockey team in the States. He had a great slide that said, hey, for 2 weeks, I'm going to give you the credit. After that, it's my idea. So for 2 weeks, I'm going to give Des a bunch of credit on some stuff, and then I'm going to forget where I got it from, so it's going to be my idea after that point. But we teach, Dan John is really big on carries and crawls. He's also big on climbs. We've integrated that. You're going to see that throughout our system, that we will do a ton of stuff. This position you see down here is what we call a bear crawl position. So we're looking for we're not looking for this, the big butt in the air. We're looking for this to engage. Why do I want this? Because they won't normally do that if we don't, what does it focus on?
Posture.
Yeah, I'm going to get postural alignment, I'm going to get core control, I'm going to get glutes control, I'm going to get my lats engaged, everything to kind of keep me down. The stuff that we want to translate when we do other movements. That's actually a pretty good thing. And then we will teach a bunch of in-place crawl series type movements. So we may teach in this. So before we even get moving, we're just going to teach them. I got to get where I can go. We're going to teach them here. We're going to teach them all kinds of things. Got one that kids call the Matrix. I had another name, but their name was cooler. So the Matrix is this. We teach them this. So I got that age range doing those kinds of movement patterns, right? Teaching them a lot more than just crawling. And then we'll get into some more dynamic stuff. So we go into that at that age range. And then this is when they unfortunately have to come see me. No, it's not unfortunately. We try to make an environment that they enjoy coming to see me. So now they will train at this age 2 days a week. We have our system is a little bit different where they're in school every day, a lot. They have outside influences, outside activities. We try to promote multi-sport as much as possible. The good thing about our coaches meeting, Liam, you and I were talking about this on the day I arrived. The great thing that we don't have is the soccer coach doing stuff on their own, and the football coach doing stuff on their own, and the basketball coach doing stuff on their own, and their club coach doing stuff on their own, and then me training. And I've heard that struggle here a lot. And mandate, how do you control all that volume? So when the model was changed, the rubric away from wins and into development, they naturally sat, it was really cool because they naturally sat down together. I mean, there's times when they meet, all right, we got a multi-sport guy. We have to meet to talk about each one of these guys because development now became the rubric of financial jobs, right? Does that make sense? So now it's in their best interest. And so I'm involved in those discussions. So we will go through this. We will advance our, the other thing you'll see about me is I'm very particular about words. When people use words a lot, I don't, just to be a jerk, to be honest with you, because I like being different. So when people say core, I use torso all the time. So when you see stuff up there, that's just me being me. Don't lose that. I'm just that way. I don't like the bench. I've said that a couple times. The bench is my least favorite thing in the world. I joke about it. I was on a podcast and joked about it. I made a joke, said, it's my favorite exercise. Anyone that knows me knows I hate it. But I work with and for football coaches, American football coaches, and they love the bench press. I think they go to bed bench pressing. They love the bench press. So bench press is part of our program. I think I can do it in a way that it doesn't hurt the athlete. I'm not sure how much laying down on the ground and pushing stuff away. We always say, if you're a really bad wrestler, you need that skill, laying down and pushing someone away, or a really bad football player because you got plowed over. I don't really think I think there are better options, but we do those better options, but we do bench. So there's a little star there just to remind you that that's not my favorite. This is the overview plan of my high school athletes. This is the majority of my day. I will see grades 9 through 12, 48 kids an hour will come in to train with me, and they are from all different levels of ability. We have 32 students from China. They come over for 4 years. It's not really exchange students. They literally come over and live for 4 years, get 4 years of high school. And I have, I think, 26 of those. They have never seen the inside of a weight room or athletic development. They are very academic in nature, but they want to be well-rounded, so they're in my class. I have that. I have a more normal beginner. I have advanced guys that have trained with me for the whole system. So I have to be able to engage that and have multiple things going on at the same time. So we've done this through a system called blocking. So is anyone familiar with Joe Ken's training system? Nobody? It's a good thing to Google and look down. It's called the TIER, T-I-E-R, TIER training system. Joe Ken is an American football coach. Brilliant. You gotta get by the football coaching part. Brilliant system of organization. I really like it. So this is where I've kind of taken from him. On that, he's bigger than me, so I better give him the credit because he'll crush me. But this is the system. So my first year student could be any grade. First year student, they have to complete this at least one semester of completion. So this is where my coaches who want them better faster might get a little antsy because we're not allowing them to do certain things. What I'm trying to do is allow them to be great at certain things. So we're really particular about this, and I'm going to get to some videos here so you don't just have to listen to me ramble. We're coming down to the end of this, but I'm going to go through all of these. I just wanted them on there so when you're going through notes, you can understand why I put each one, because I'm going to skip over a lot of this and you go, whoa, what's he talking about? But I'm going to come back to all of that, how we teach landing mechanics before jumping. I got videos here to show you. But I wanted to label all the things that we do in each one of these blocks so you could go back and look. Okay, so block 2, again, a prerequisite. They have to have at least that 1 semester in block 1. So the earliest start is going to be spring semester of their freshman year. Our semester system, they have 18 weeks in the fall. We have winter break, and then they come back in the spring for 18 weeks, summer break. So the fall is a semester 1, spring semester would be semester 2. That'd be the earliest they could come in here. We advance some periodization schemes. We advance some squat selections, which you're going to see our whole squat program in a minute. We start introducing some more explosive training. We do a hang clean over a deck clean or a platform clean. Some people call it a power clean. I'll explain my terminology, maybe a little bit different, and why we choose this option. Gets to that do no harm philosophy. How many of you guys were in the Q&A this morning? So you heard a little bit about my philosophy point, do no harm. Kettlebell swing and snatch progressions to proficiency. If you cannot front plank and you cannot kettlebell deadlift, you do not kettlebell swing in our program. You have to be masters of that. So we have a lot of prerequisite movements before we have specific exercises. Again, you're going to see all of that. Block 3 would be my intermediate student. So this is the earliest start is going to be spring semester sophomore year because they have to complete at least a year in that block 1 and 2. So then a year and a half, in block 1 and 2. The half year in 1, the full year in block 2. Again, now we're really advancing, and I'll explain all these periodized systems. Really expanding that. This will be the first time that they're allowed to be able to go to a back squat. We use a safety squat bar. I'll explain why we use a box squat as well. And I'm going to get a lot of people disagree. There's going to be a lot of things when I show you some videos here, and maybe you're going to disagree with me. I love people that disagree with me because it does one of two things. It either teaches me that I was wrong or it proves to me that I was right. And I like both of those things. So either one. If I'm wrong, I want to do what's right because it's about doing what's right for my athletes. And if I think you're wrong, then I'm right, and that's good for me too. It's good for my ego. My wife will say it's not good for my ego, but it's good for me. All right, so then we got our more advanced program. Our more advanced program, again, the earliest is their junior year. This is where we're going to really start doing some velocity-based training. We're going to talk about that and how we do that. It's nothing fancy to it. It's just it allows us to make sure they're doing what I want them to do. There's other ways to do it. I like this. The kids like this. It's engaged. It's relatively cheap now, getting cheaper. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we introduced some triphasic training. Anyone here familiar with triphasic training? Cal Dietz. Okay, if you haven't, again, that's another good thing. He's got an ebook out for high school or youth populations on triphasic training. I disagree with him. He is far smarter than me. I disagree with him on when to apply it. I think you can over-apply that system. It's really a system of isometric and eccentric training. We do it throughout our program, but this is really specific on some of the bigger key core lifts. So we can get to that too. All right, so that was a really quick run through, and I hate to do that, but I wanted to make sure you understood where it was, why it was, before we get into some of the specific ones. So here we go. Let's just take a couple exercises. Every one of our exercises has exactly what I'm ready to show you in this format, in a video format. That I can teach my coaches, that I can teach my athletes. It's not just training my athletes, it's educating my athletes. Really important that they're part of this process. I love your system over here. The coaches you have here are amazing. I have been blown away, absolutely blown away with what they're doing. And one of the biggest things is how they have engaged the student as part of the process. And it's really, it doesn't happen that way in many places, I'm telling you. This is a great place. So Setanta College and the coaches here need to be commended. It is a great process. So this is just our squat. These are our prerequisites. Before I can either put you in my squat program or my squat alternate program, you guys, I gotta see this. If you can't do this, you're going in squat alternate. So this would be overhead wall squats. So I got the world's greatest athlete to demonstrate this, but I did the best. I'll explain the one on the right here in a minute. I left off my blooper reel. So we want to see that. If I have forward knee protrusion, what am I going to do? We'll bump that wall. If I have heels coming up, if I don't maintain structural integrity at the spine, I can see this really quick. I'm going to do exactly what I did on that camera. I'm going to start in the back, look to the side. It's really easy, quick. I can knock. Remember, I got a lot of people. I can knock that screen out and go to this one. We got a little mini band, super mini band that we have, so it's not a ton of resistance. Now, the problem is, when I was filming this, I thought it would be wise of me to move my hands because I thought they were too close. And I moved my hand because I'm really smart, and I took the hand off the band, and it smacked me in the face as I was staring at it. So I had a big, giant red line. My wife thought it was so funny, she put it on the internet. So it went viral on me because everyone likes seeing Coach Schofield get slapped in the head with a band. So I would not advise doing that. But we want to see if they can do that. If they can't do that, they're not in my squat program, period. So a lot of people don't start my squat program. Well, they don't have enough strength for that, Coach. All right, good, then they don't have enough strength to load the spine then. We're good. We're gonna try to change it a little differently. So here are my 2 squat programs. Again, every exercise I have has this type of system built into it. I believe you should be able to progress every exercise you do at least 2 steps up and regress every exercise you do at least 2 steps down. I believe that's vital. I believe that's what we do. We are supposed to be exercise professionals. And if you cannot do that and you're stuck to one exercise, I think you're a limited coach. So again, renegade squat or a landmine squat is a great thing that I was taught a couple years ago. I used to always start on goblet squats. How many in here do goblet squats? Those are, I think they're really good. And it used to be kind of, okay, that's what we would go to. But again, with the youth athlete, if they don't have a whole lot of upper body strength, you start seeing this kind of stuff, knees wobbling. I'm like, good grief, that's worse than the other thing he was doing. I can't do that. So I started to look to backdrop off of that. Renegade squat's great. They're going to start at an angle, which I'm okay with. They're going to lock in their spine. The end of the bar is here. You can do it on a corner. You don't have to have a landmine or a renegade unit. We do. Obviously, we have 4 of them there. And now it's going to force me into a hinge because I can't lean into that bar. It forces me into that hinge and down into a squat. And you'll see here. Now you can load it. He's for demo purposes. He's not loaded. We do an isometric at the bottom. That's not triphasic, but we do a lot of isometrics. We do a ton. We're in good control and come up. Pretty simple. Bear hug squat. Now before I go to the goblet squat, I want to make sure I get good lat control. So I like the sandbag because now I got to squeeze that sandbag in. It's going to drop those shoulders into a good controlled contraction. Now you will see if you don't watch your knees, like Liam here. This is my Irishman. This is Liam. Our football team played the other night, and they knew I was over there. They had a special play. This is our wide receiver. He's 6'2". He goes about 210. And they put him at tackle, and they ran a play that the other team didn't see coming, and they called it the leprechaun. And so they put Liam. So anyhow, this is my boy here. But watch what he does with his knees here. It looks like he gets hurt. That didn't look good, did it? He really realized real quickly his knees, and he doesn't want his heels coming up, so he shot his knees back really quick. He fixed it on the second rep, right? I like self-fixing. I don't like having, if I have to coach it, it's not going to last long, right? If Liam drives me over here from the hotel, or I drive myself, first of all, I'll probably get in a wreck because I have no idea about this left-hand stuff. But if I drive myself, I'm going to learn how to get here. If Liam drives me, I don't know, I got here. I don't even know where the hotel is. That way, I have no idea. No idea. So I don't want to have to overcoach. We overcoach. Guys, we need to get out of the way of our athletes sometimes. Give them safe things to do, see if they can fix it, have them involved in the situation. Then we'll go to our goblet squats. Again, a little isometric contraction at the bottom. Get good control, hopefully. Drive up and through the heels. Pretty simple. Goblet squats, I think you guys are well aware of. So that would be my squat alternate. At any time during this phase, I would like to see if they say, Coach, I think I got the other 2 prerequisites down. They can show me, and they can be involved in that movement. Once they get over that prerequisite, they can go to our squat progressions. Our first level with our basic athletes or belt squats. We do not like to load the spine a whole lot. Maybe it's my medical background, maybe it's not, but back injuries are starting to just irritate me a little bit, and there's no need to load the spine with load too early. I think there's plenty of time to do that late. So we go ahead and we load the hips, we'll load the spine other ways, and we'll go ahead and we can load pretty heavy. This is a pit shark machine. There are many different belt machines. This doesn't take up a whole lot of space. It works real well with us. And then this is where I'm probably going to get a lot of people to disagree with me, and that's okay. We go a front squat to a box, and we go a safety squat bar to a box. And you'll see on the safety squat bar, I love the cambered bar because it stays more in line and it doesn't allow that drifting forward of a back squat, which is a natural occurrence, and then the shear forces on the spine. The shear forces on the spine do not like the pars. There are pars fractures, and in youth, 11 to 17, 6% of the population worldwide has it, 6%, they have it. That's a little scary. There's no need to kind of load that area too soon. Now, why do I box squat? Now, here's why. When we do our heavy squatting motions, we do light squatting motions, and we do full motions that the athlete has with good quality motions. We do lunges that are full. We do step-ups that are full. We do, when they're doing down here, it doesn't mean that these aren't in existence in the program. They will do those, and they will do them nice and deep as you saw them. However, when we load heavy, we load from slightly above parallel. Why do I want to load slightly here? If you have your athlete, and you are doing a full traditional back squat, heavy, and I have my athlete doing a full traditional back squat to here, who gets to lift more weight? My guy, right? Because the full one, it's harder to go below because your angles, right? I'm putting them at an inefficient angle, so you basically put a governor on your athlete. They can only get so strong at that level. And you say, well, they need strength to the full range of motion. Yeah, I got it. We're doing that. But when we go heavy, because I got news for you, my athletes don't play below this. You can video anything you want. At least in my sports that we play, even my linemen don't go below that. They don't tackle below that. Once my linemen get here, guess what happens to my lineman? Or my wrestler? Or my lacrosse player? They're going to spend the rest of the game down there. All right, so I don't care how strong they are at that point. I don't care. I have 2 fingers, I'll knock a guy over. You're a 600-pound squatter, get in that position. That helped you. I just don't believe in it. Box squats have been shown to increase rate of force development. Here's my theory with force development and strength. You probably heard it below a little bit, but it's like the old Wild West gun show. Liam may have a big old gun. It's frightening looking. I have 2 little tiny pistols, but if I pull mine before he pulls his, a bullet's a bullet. I want my guys to have enough strength to knock you off balance. That's all I need. Now I need my guys to access that strength before you can access yours. You might be able to access all kinds of force production, but if my guy can access enough, I mean, they can't do this. That didn't do anything. You didn't even notice it. I have to access enough. If I can access enough before you can access enough, I win. And that's how my I have a 6'2", 225-pound lineman, and he went against a 6'4", 295 and a 6'5", 305-pound lineman. Both of those are going to large schools, Alabama, Tennessee. My guy is not. He's too little. But he is able to literally, and I can show you video, shed that one guy and what we call pancake, and you put that guy in the back. And he did that 7 times in one game. How? Those 2 are much stronger than my guy. My guy has more force than his guy. My guy has a rate of force development than that guy. My guy wins. Your guy's bigger, your guy's stronger, my guy wins. We can compete that way. I don't have genetic freaks that come to my school. My school costs roughly $20,000 a year to go. So they will pay more to come to my school most of the time than to college. My parents will save when the kids go off to college. It's a little crazy. So I don't have, and we don't offer athletic scholarships. We don't. It's blind, pure financial, and it's limited at that. And so I don't have the genetic gifts walking through my doors. I have to make the best of what I have. I would hope I would still do that if I had the genetics, but I would tell you that my program is built on a necessity. So that's just one setup. My clean setup, my clean progressions, especially for the youth athlete, I think are important to do it right. And we have 17, 18-year-olds that can clean. I have one 385, 395, 405 pounds. I know you guys use kilos over here. I'm a purely Americanized, I'm sorry, but that's where we even have our bumpers in pounds, so you guys would probably kill me. But I went out and got the ones with pounds, just because I'm a stupid American, I guess. I don't know from all the whole kilo thing. So we will go through a series from the hang, of a shrug. A hacky is nothing more than getting the glutes engaged. It's not a bounce. It's just getting the glutes engaged. So it kind of looks that way, and then a pull. And we will do that from the hang. And they will learn that. And my block ones may do it with just a PVC pipe. They may do it with a tech bar, a 15-pound bar. They may do it with a Lumalite bar, 30 pounds, so they can do the 45-pound bar, or they can add bumper plates, depending upon how well they do it. We like it from the hang for the same purpose that we just play from here. We play from an athletic stance. So we're going to be explosive from that position. That's my choice. Do I think this is wrong? No, it's just my choice. So hopefully that you understand that. We can argue about that later. And then we're going to, before they ever clean, so they're just doing those, we learn to land first. And I want a good landing. It's one of my current GAs right now. I want a good solid landing. Heels down, arms back. We want to land above parallel before we get to our box jumps. Now I'm very particular about our box jumps. He's starting way too far back. I'm not really happy with this jumping here. But anyhow, what I want to see is I want to see feet completely land on the box. I don't like heels off the edge of the box. It's a pet peeve of mine. I want to see feet remain on the ground, and I want to see you land equal to or above parallel, where you start from. It is really neat to watch someone jump 57 inches and land on the edge and get back up. I don't know what he did. That's not very athletic to me. Land in an athletic position. Let me see if you can do that. I have a guy that can jump 48 inches and be able to stick it at or above parallel. That's explosive to me, and he's really close to the box. This is our running back right now. When you see him go into the hole, he's gone. Very explosive guy. So he might not have that 52-inch one, but I give you my 48 over that 52 any day. Any day. So we're really picky about that. Now I want that block one people to master that. Then we go into our block two, and now we're going to go from a block as opposed to a hang. We will still keep the hang. That's over here. I didn't have to show you those videos again. But we're going to go from a block. Why do I block it? We block it at the athletic stance. What did I just now do? By the hang and the block. What's the difference? What did I take out of the equation?
Eccentric.
Say again?
That's eccentric.
Yeah, I took it that eccentric, but what I'm going through that stretch shortening cycle, that preload cycle, right? So that's natural. I want to keep that. But now by putting the block in, I'm really having to concentrate and get that core tight. I'm taking that out of the equation. Now I have to really focus on producing force without that counterbalance beforehand. Does that make sense? So I love the block clean, all the block clean derivatives. These are derivatives right now because they're not going to do a block clean. So again, we go through the same three before, where we'll go through a shrug, the hacky, and the pull. Again, excuse the lack of athleticism, but that's what we do there. And then into our block three is where they will start now. We give them one more little tech push here. And this is going to be a pause. So we're going to bring an isometric into it. So I go to a hang clean. Now I'm going to get the pause without the assistance of the block. And go through those three things. So again, taking that out of the equation. And then, oh yeah, now this athlete, I believe, is prepared to go ahead and perform the hang clean. Hopefully a lot better and a lot heavier than what I just did, but you get the idea of what we're trying to establish. You see I'm very big on packing the neck with motions that we do. Here's my velocity base, so don't make fun of me. Here's my velocity base training. We have Tendo units. Velocity based training, it acts like it's big and fancy, and I know it's been around forever, but here's the deal. Velocity-based training is a great tool to make sure my athletes are training in the zone that I wanted to. Brian Mann, M-A-N-N, has done some studies. Anyone know who Brian Mann is? You guys probably know. He's a great guy. What an unbelievable presenter. He's a doctor. He's a practical coach. But he was at University of Missouri, and he was in the weight room with their football team, and he watched a guy go from a 380-pound clean to a 415-pound clean. His vertical jump did not increase. He watched another guy go from 330 to 375. His vertical actually went down. He watched another guy go from 350 to 375, and his vertical stayed the same. And it went down the board. He's a stats guy, and he's a PhD, so he's running stats. He ran the reports. He went to a statistician on campus, said, I think I'm stupid. Can you run these? It all came back that as their cleans went up, their vertical did not improve at all. And in fact, in some cases, went down. And he couldn't understand. So he went into the head strength coach, Pat Ivey, said, Pat, why do we clean? And Pat said, okay, goofball, we clean because it's a power. We want to develop power. And he says, okay, well, how do we measure power? And Pat goes, hey, what are you, like an intern now? How do you not know this? One of the measures we use is the vertical. He goes, okay, well, how come the clean didn't increase the vertical? Can you explain it? And Pat froze, and said, no, I can't. You're the PhD, you go figure it out. So what he did is he put the Tendo unit on, put a velocity measure unit on. He now uses Gym Aware, probably a much easier to look system. There are other systems out there. But he put the Tendo unit on and did it, and what he was finding is when they were going for their max, they were lifting at 0.8 meters per second, 0.7, 0.6. The real heavy guys at the 400, 0.45. McLean's supposed to be a power lift. They were lifting in speeds that dictated strength gains. So basically what they were doing is they were using the power clean or the hang clean, a power move, to develop strength. I got news for you. There are better choices to develop strength than the clean. If you want power, then we got to move it at the right speed. He has a great quote that he says, I would rather be right than lucky. I don't want to just look and go, that looks fast enough. I want to make sure my athletes are training in the zone I want them to train in. So we put them on there. What we do is we use peak velocity, and we're looking for 1.35 meters per second or more in 3 reps. They don't get 2 or 3 reps in that zone or above that zone, they have to drop the weight. Because I don't know where my high school athletes are. I don't know about your athletes, but my athletes are hormonal freaks. All it takes for my athletes to have a good day is a girl to wink at them. And all it does to take a bad day is for that girl that winked at him to find out that she's dating his best friend. So they can come into my weight room like He-Man or crumply old men. And so I got to give them, I don't know what their load's going to be every day. I need a system that helps me with that. We'll talk about that in a second. So we get into this, and we go ahead and we'll go through this process of putting velocity on. And so it just kicks out a score over there from them. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about this auto-regulation of how we do that as well. So hopefully that was a decent enough explanation. I just gave you 2 exercises there so that we could get through that. Now, I'm giving you a lot of stuff. I want to get through this stuff here really quick. There's a couple things I want to get through. There's going to be some stuff that I put into my presentation that I'm not going to get to. I knew I wasn't going to get to it, but I wanted to give it to you anyways to stimulate thought. So it's in my PowerPoint presentation. I will show you that in a second as we go down here for discussions later on. I always like leaving you with even more. Okay, does that make sense? So you'll get to that later, but and I know I'm running quick. We started a little bit late though, so are we okay going? I got another 5 minutes on tap. Do you mind if I stay a little bit? All right, so if you have to go, feel free, but I'm going to try to give you everything I got. So if you want, we'll keep trucking for a little bit, okay? I won't kill you, though. All right, so I want to talk about my periodization scheme. I think this is a unique system that we use with our athletes. And so basically, over a full year, this is kind of the phases that we like to take them through. All right, volume acclimation, some people call it volume accumulation, volume acclimation to volume to strength. My block 1 that we went through, I spent all that time talking about, that's where it only says 4 weeks, that not with them. They're going to spend their whole year kind of in that. That's it, because that's what they need. Those youth athletes need volume. They need to build hypertrophy, they need to build strength levels, they need to spend time in that. I see too many young athletes trying to do power drills. Maybe not. Maybe you need strength first, maybe. Might be helpful. Maybe you need a little bit bigger body than those little pencil legs. Don't worry about power down the line, maybe. That might be helpful. So we spent a lot of time there. Block 2, still young athletes. They go here and they start getting strength to power. They start getting a little closer. And then we're going to cycle through those 3 things. So block 1, we're going to focus on this auto-regulated, linear and undulating. And we can get into terms and argue terms because periodization is one of these things that people call different things, different names. But basically, for sake of argument, this is what we call it. We want to build up their volume 8 to 3. You don't see percentages here. This is where the auto-regulation concept comes from my youth athletes. Because they're so hormonal, they're going to come in and we have a very clear rating system that depending on if I got 12 and I felt like I had 15 in me, we always want to leave 1 in the tank. So if I'm at 11 and I feel like I only got 1 left, we rack. Our athletes buy into that system. We rack. If I feel like I got 20 left, I'm going to do 12. If I got 12 and I felt like I do 20, what am I doing my next set? I'm adding weight. And that's cool. That's good. What if I'm having a really bad day? Because here's the deal. In an auto-regulated system, can you cheat the system? Can an athlete walk into my room and say they're not feeling really good and lift less weight than they probably should that day? Can that happen? Absolutely. There's 2 athletes that you're going to have in your room. You're going to have dogs, you're going to have monsters. If you know anything about me or follow me on Facebook, social media, you'll see monsters all the time. Talk about monsters, build the monsters. There are people in this room right now that are dogs, and there are people in this room right now that are monsters. I cannot build a program for the dog. The dog is going to try to circumvent the program every time. It can be the greatest program in the world. Des over there, he gets the greatest program in the world, the dog's going to be a dog and find a way to get around it. I can't build a program for that guy. But I can build a program for a monster. You want to be a monster? I got you. I will do everything I can to make you as monster as you can be. That doesn't mean size. That means I'm going to make you as crazy good as we possibly can. But coach, I'm slow. Let's see how fast we can get. But coach, I'm weak. Let's see how strong we can get. Let's do it. That's the environment I want. So autoregulation works for us because our kids buy into that system. They buy into that idea. You want to be, I got you. I got your back. I mean, if you don't, then the door's there and you don't have to be in the program. It's okay. It's okay. You got a choice in this matter. And so we really, really focus on that. So autoregulation for us works tremendous. My kids now have a say in the load that is applied to them. They like that. They like that. So we go through that. No percentages. No percentages yet. Now, block 2 will start building into percentages because at that point we're probably starting to do some, at least some maximal work, maybe a 3 to 6 rep max at some point on a movement, so we have an idea. I like this. This is a cool system here too. I forget who I stole it from. But I like this system. Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot. All right, so they get their warm-up sets down. They get 85% of their max that they perceive to be their max that day because we don't know if it is that day or not. All right, they get it on there, and they're going to do 5+. So they do, and let's just say they were really feeling good and they got 7. They could have got 8, but they got 7. Then they fall into a category. 6+ reps, they're going to do this. 4 at 85, 4+ at 85, 2+ at 85, 8+ at 76, a little drop-off set. But what if they had a really bad day? Because they should have gotten about 5 at 85. Maybe probably 4 to 6, somewhere in that range, right? So they go ahead and let's just say they only got 3. They only got 3. They could have gotten 4, but they only got 3. 4 minus reps. That's where they were. I'm only going to give them 2 at 85, and I'm going to give them that drop-off set at 6. And that's all they're going to do. Because they're not ready for that full load, and it auto-regulates itself. They just drop into the thing. That's pretty good. That's simple. I like simple. All right, now, if they get any of these pluses, I allow them to add 5 to 10 pounds. I have to keep a cap because high school kids, when you say, hey, coach, I think I can lift more, we'll put 25s on each side. And I'm like, dude, that's like a 110% jump. What are you doing? Small increments. We go there. Be successful. I'm going to skip over in season for a second because this is block 1, block 2, block 3 now. We engage. All the blocks are doing all of these. But remember, block 1's limited to this. Block 2's limited to this. Block 3's limited to this. Power, it can be split up into strength speed and speed strength. How many are good with that understanding? Raise your hand quick. Okay, let me explain. So you have power, that you have strength on one side of the room, I have speed on the other side of the room, right? Along that continuum is power. It's a combination of strength and speed. Will we all agree with that? So there are going to be exercises that are going to be more on this side of the room. A resisted jump, correct? There are going to be power exercises on this side of the room. Maybe a jump rope, quick jumps. Are we good with that understanding? Okay, they have to be trained separately. So I'm going to stick with the strength one of my earlier athletes, and we do some resisted complexes, another auto-regulated system. I'm going to show you a video of this. And then for my block 4, we added in some accelerated contrasts. Does anyone here, have they seen accelerated plyos or overspeed plyos? Cal Dietz does that. You may not buy into this concept because I didn't forever, but I just started to and I'm seeing great results. Is there research behind it? No, I have a star there. No. And let me tell you this, you can't be limited to research because if I don't explore new things, researchers don't have things to research. You have to be willing to explore and watch and observe for results, and if you get them, keep going. Now when the research comes, then I validate what I'm doing or go, whoa, wait a minute, it says that it doesn't work. And I gotta make sure that research matches same subjects, and when it does, I also gotta be willing to go, well, maybe I was wrong and get rid of it. So sometimes it's good to explore. It gives researchers things to think about. So I was against it for a while. I really like it now. I'll show you 2 videos. Oh, let me go over the in-season first. In-season, it's another regulated thing. I do remember who I got this from. This is Mark Watts. Mark Watts is on EliteFTS.com. It's a great website. He was the educational director. I think he just stepped down. But he had a great article about individualization in the team setting. Okay, so it's a great one. I have that in the references section. And basically, we go ahead with my in-season athletes and we do warm-up sets and we do that 85 at 5, let's just say it was the squat again. And then depending upon how much you're playing, I will put you in the group. If you're playing a substantial amount of time or you just can't, I can move this around. You just came off, let's say Friday was our football game and we have that young man that's 6'2", 220, plays about 85 to 90% of every play in the game. Special teams included. He never comes off the field. Then Monday, am I going to heavy squat him for volume? No, how about no? Because his whole game was a heavy squat. So he's going to drop into this reload, and all he's going to do is 85 to 5 plus, then 4 plus at 85, he's done. He'll go do recovery work, regeneration work, soft tissue work. But my little guy, my little 5'9", 150 guy that waves the towel on the sideline the whole game, he probably needs to work in the weight room a little bit more on Monday. So he drops into a normal one, the game group. In the game group, you're going to see is the copy of the workout for the day. That works pretty well for us. That works really well to auto-regulate in-season work with their volume of activity of the games that they're in. And I can also use that when they're practicing as well. I like that. Works well for us. Okay, so resisted complex work. Very normal. Now this is a 6'5" basketball player that we have. A couple of his sets are really good here, a couple are not. I don't always give you good videos because I don't want you to think my guys are robotic freaks. They make mistakes too. I missed his jump, so this is his partner, it's our point guard. I have a lot of cool stuff, but I am very frugal. The Vertimax, spending $4,000 on a Vertimax when I don't have a budget, makes no sense when rubber bands work just as well. So I get a pretty good, and actually I think they work sometimes better because he has to have really good core control to do this. So that would be a traditional set. This is the kind of the unique stuff, make you think maybe a little bit. Awful bench press. You notice we use these bars, it's a neutral grip bench. If I'm going to give into the bench press, this was the compensation we made with my football coach. This is a weak position of weakness. Wouldn't teach that in anything. So we like this position. So the neutral grip handles work much better. So you will see, I like to have a good isometric pause at the big end, and he just lets it flop. That is God. That is awful. I'm not happy with that at all. We just kept it in there. And I turned this music kind of on his button. He knows it. And you can see that like kids like, oh boy. He's gonna get it. All right, this is the unique accelerated plyo, and he does it all the job. Now this is new to him. So this is not his fault, it's my fault. Watch his backside fly up first, now like that. He needs to keep better core engagement. But look at the eccentric loading he's getting from this. Plus, my kids love this stuff. We do it with jumps. We have stuff that hang from the ceiling. They hook in, and it slingshots them up, and they really have to control that landing down. It's only for my elite levels. I told you only block 4. Only my elite guys. He's a pretty elite basketball player. They love that stuff. They want to do that all the time. We don't do it all the time. They love that stuff. All right, let me go over my monitoring thing really quick. This will be the last piece. The rest will be a bonus for you guys that we can ask questions. I'll put my information up. So this will be the last piece, I promise you. So here's the deal. When they come in, I need to know what they need that day. I don't want to hope I'm giving them what they need. Hope's not a strategy. I had a friend tell me that a long time ago. He's like, are you doing right? And I was like, I hope I am. He goes, yeah, that's not a strategy, Gary. Hoping isn't a strategy. You've got to come up with a strategy. So there are many ways to do this. Des showed a bunch of ways to do it. It was great. And we're gonna talk about specifically recovery. Do your athletes get better from your workout? I'm gonna talk specific about workout monitoring, not necessarily gameplay monitoring, but workout monitoring. Do they get better from your workout or worse? That shouldn't cause that much of a pause. Would you want to go do a maximal, heavy, good, hard workout and then go play a match right away? Well, if it made you better, let's go do that. Right? No. What do you get better from? You get better from the recovery from your workout. That's where you're going to get better. The time they're not with me. All right? Do you know how many hours your kids slept last night? Do you know how much water they drank yesterday? Do you know how much they ate yesterday? Because, oh, by the way, that impacts their recovery, right? We spend so much dang time on learning all those exercises when really we probably should spend more time on learning how to monitor their recovery, because that's what's going to get them better. So the things that we're going to monitor, you could do it with pen and paper. and it's simple, but I need there to be fast response. I need to be able to give them stuff right away. So I'm working with this company called Kinduct. There are other companies out there. I just like these guys because they helped me. They got it cost effective. It cost me $500 a year. I have 409 athletes. I'm going to charge them $2 a piece. I'd actually make a profit. I don't charge them any because $500 fits within my budget. It works for me. And they were able to create this system. This is a screenshot from my computer. This is the blow up of the screenshot. These two are not engaged yet in the system because I'm still looking at how to incorporate my HRV and my screening in a team format. So that's why you see zeros on that now, but it will be engaged. So specifically, I'm looking at sleep, hydration, and nutrition. I give those 25% each in my scoring system because I believe those are the three most vital pieces that I need to know. I also need to know stress is vital, both academic, personal, and sports training. And then, of course, we have the recovery, like I said, and the movement screens, HRV, and so forth that are down here. I've created a scoring system that produces an overall number. So when I look at this, I can see an overall number. Des comes in, he's a 37. You come in and you're a 97. You're not ready for my workout today. And, oh, by the way, maybe, let's hold on the finalization. I'll show you how we walk it through. And you're 97. You may not be ready either. You may need more. You may need less. The key word there is may. Data doesn't drive the engine. Data just supplies me thought so that I can get back to that kid and find out what's going down. This kid in particular is a 73, which just means I got to keep my eye on him. Not as good as I'd like, not as bad as I'm fearing. I can break down each one of these things, sleep, and find out, hey, he was at 7.5 hours because there's studies that show that if you have less than 7.5 hours of sleep, you have a 1.7 times more likelihood of injury. Oh, is that important? Yeah, it's that important. Academic stress weeks. Ryan Mann did a study on that and showed that it was almost doubled your rate of injury in high academic stress weeks. Should you know how high academic stress weeks are? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe you should. So we kind of go through this system. So what do I do with this? Here's that number again. What am I going to do with this? Well, here's the deal. I'm not automatically going to cut you. I'm not automatically going to add more. I'm going to look at this and say, hey, listen, is this a daily spike or part of a trend? I need to know that. That's important to know. I need to know that. What training phase is this athlete in? Is he early off season? Is he mid season? Is he late season? What just happened? What is he coming off of? I need to know that. When was his last reload week? Now we don't do deload weeks. We call them reload. They're deload weeks. Again, it's another one of those Schofield being crazy moments with names. But our athletes here deload, and what do my youth athletes think? It's the easy week. No, reload means we're resetting and getting ready for the next thing. That little name, that little language thing helps create culture. It's an important part of what we did. When was that? I also need to know this athlete. Who is this athlete? Is this athlete the guy that dogs everything? Is this one of those dogs? Is this a monster? Is this guy that usually never gets sick? I mean, has he got something going on? Why is he all of a sudden down? I don't understand this. What's going on with him? You need to know his coach. You need to know what's going on with that. Now I'm going to look at the volume, load, and speed of movements. If I feel this is a legit 37, the kid's dragging a little bit, and you're going to see all of that, and I'm going to say, okay, all right, let's go have a talk. He had 4 hours of sleep last night. He was 4 water bottles short of his goal. He was 300 calories short of his goal, and yeah, our kids track that. And he's 100 calories short of his protein goal. Those are probably the two biggest ones, is the overall calorie goal and the protein calorie goal. They use the MyFitnessPal, and they track what they eat. They don't calorie count. And we get away from that terminology. It just creates issues. We just track what we eat. And then I know, hey, I'm supposed to have 3,287 calories that day. I only ate 2,200. It's something I kind of need to know for your fuel sources. And they just track. It's a little slider. They log on with their phones. First thing in the morning when they wake up, and I got an absolute buy-in with this. Kids log on because it takes a minute and 32 seconds. They already know because they're doing the MyFitnessPal. That's the hardest thing to get them to do. But they do it because it's part of the curriculum. And then they just simply, with the slider, they go boom, 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 and answer all these questions, and it pumps out all those numbers to me. So now what am I going to do with this? All right, I'm going to look at all of this stuff, increase recovery work. So this guy here, if this was a 37, and I see I got some heavy squats with those accelerated box jumps, I'm going to get rid of those accelerated RBT jumps. I'm probably going to lower this percentage just a bit and allow him to auto-regulate. If he can go up high, I'll let him go. It's fine. This is going to stay the same. Block clean with the tendo. I'm going to remove the tendo. I might go to a hang shrug. Still an explosive movement. A little easier to manipulate for that athlete. This crab series, that's that high intense kind of movement pattern thing that we do on the floor. I'll get rid of that. Maybe go to a McGill Big 3 with a modified crunch side plank. Bird dog. I'm going to make sure he does his movement efficiency exercises, correctives, and then recovery breathing at the end. We'll make sure that we save time for that. And I'll walk the athlete through that so that I can give him what he needs that day to be that monster that we talked about. I think that's a pretty cool system. To be able to do that at the high school level and have daily notes and be able to talk to the athlete. One of the cool things here is I was able to monitor this on Wednesday while I was over here in Ireland. And I had 2 athletes. I had a wide receiver and a tight end, and our American football team is in playoffs, a big playoff game. And they were not scoring well. Now, from this system, I was able to send them a message. And the parents both sent me emails and were blown away, like, man, you're in Ireland and you're still caring about our kid. That's unbelievable. I can also do this. As they do the MyFitnessPal, they scan their foods in and sends it to my dashboard too. So like my offensive lineman last Friday on a game day, we had grilled chicken, a little bit of pasta, and we had corn dogs. So what does my big old offensive lineman do? It gets about 30, they have to scan their foods in, part of our system that we have, so it scans in, automatically goes and pumps it out to me, and I see him with his 6 corn dogs. So I send him an immediate text back as it goes to their phone. Immediate text, put the corn dogs down. I'm in the weight room. Put the corn dogs down, go get the grilled chicken. So my principal thinks it's funny because this is what he sees. He sees this. Because he came up and told me this. He goes, right, looking around, like, puts it back, go get some grilled chicken. I think that's funny. But again, my kids like that because they know I care about them. They know I care about them. They don't care how much I know, right? You hear that all the time, until they know how much I care. All right, and this is ways that we try to do that, because that's really the important. It's not about me, it's about them. I want to do and keep them engaged. If I can create a system that keeps them engaged, I can create a system that builds them into monsters. All right, so due to time, I'm going to cut this down, but I'm going to cycle this through really quick. These are some of the other pieces that will make you think. There's just 3 and 4 here that you can go through a little bit. I got a really unique movement screening, way we do movement screening systems and stuff that might intrigue you. Kind of put a little picture there that involves the athletes. They have to help be part of this process of selecting exercises. Something intrigues you, you can reach out to me later. And so I just wanted to kind of go through and put that in there. I knew there's no way I was going to have time for all that, but it'd be a discredit for me not to tell you about it. Thank you very much.